So do you know Mr. Zuckerberg, that I call Zuckerberg? He was apologizing in front of Congress, U.S. Congress, to the parents whose kids killed themselves.
So we did talk about what happens when we don't cure inner voice, like more depressed, we struggle with anxiety, depression, doubt in ourselves, and it can also affect, our body, become obese.
So just remember, smiling is very important. The minute you smile, you're connecting with your right side of the brain. Half of your problem is gone. When you stop learning, do you know when you stop learning?
When you stop learning, I don't think you ever stop learning.
You stop learning when you die.
So wisdom is more joyful.
Absolutely.
It's calm and noise, stressful, worry, kind of overwhelming.
The title for the chapter is Quiet the Noise Within.
Hi everyone, welcome back to our podcast, JoyScore. Today we have Dr. Jay here, and we're going to be talking about the noise within. I think this is something that a lot of people can relate to. I know I can relate to, and we're going to dive deep into what it is, how we do we differentiate it between the wisdom, our inner wisdom. Where is it coming from? Is it something that has to do with our mental state, or is it something that is more biological? Then I believe that in order to fix an issue is to have a deep understanding of what it is. So we're gonna dive into that, and then we're gonna close with our tools. So I'm very excited. Please tell us a little bit about you, Dr.
So, the title for the chapter is Quiet the Noise Within. So, sometimes our mind races ahead of us. The biggest problem we have that we are not able to create that balance where, in fact, I have had this problem all my life, because I can think faster.
Okay.
But I cannot talk as fast. So being a professor, I run into that situation all the time. I'm starting to lecture on a topic and my mind is already 3 miles ahead of where
I see. So it's like, how do I balance that?
Right.
But honestly, I believe that for a professor that you're not talking too fast, that is like a very great advantage
because I don't talk
for your
fast.
students
I try
to follow.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but you're saying, how do I balance that? How do am I in the same pace?
I'm saying it for others more than myself, because I've been a professor a long time and I know how to talk and explain things. But for people in general, if they can learn to quiet the noise, meaning what's bothering them, they can create what I call inner peace. And that is a foundation to healing yourself. So I'll turn it over to you now.
So my question is, how do we know that it's that noise, it's the worry, it's the stress? How do we differentiate that from an inner wisdom? Because we also have thoughts that they are very productive, they are motivating. Not necessarily every worry is a bad thing. So how do we recognize that?
So I have a simple technique, and that is to make notes.
Okay. Me too. I can prepare.
What happens is, I learned this actually when I started teaching.
I see.
So when I started teaching, and that's like going back to, I don't want to make fun of you, but I'm sure before you were even born.
That's not making fun of me. That makes me look younger, but so you have a lot of experience, a lot of years under your belt.
I wanted to learn how to teach my students in a way that they can retain what I'm teaching.
Okay.
Because teaching is an art and learning is an art. So I figured out the happy medium.
Happy medium?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I insisted that my students make notes from my lectures. And then they had to word process the notes and put it in a binder. So they have all the notes from my lectures, my classes in a binder. So when they, and I check their binder at the end of the semester, actually 10% of the grades is given to their notes.
All right. So you, what's the word? You evaluate them on their notes.
Right.
That's interesting.
10%.
That's interesting.
The reason for that is, now this is something everybody can learn from this. When you sit in a lecture or a discussion, the retention of what's being talked about, or the professor is talking, is 20 to 30%.
I see.
Very small percentage. If you're making notes, it goes to 60 to 70%. But I even have them do the third thing, which is not only they have to take notes, but they have to word process them. So now they have to think about it.
So they have to work on them.
Right. So when they do that, the retention goes up to 80 to 90%.
It's
So
interesting. It's interesting.
So it's
Because when I
like-
was studying for my exams,
Yeah.
I would have to write down like the main points to remember.
If you write down the main, you don't have to write everything
Yeah,
down.
I see.
You just make
Bullet
what I
points.
call critical points.
Critical points.
But then when you have to go back and expand on it, then you have to think. What did he say? Then you have to, so now you have taken that lecture information 80 to 90%. You have mastered it now. And that's what I wanted to make sure my students have. Not only that, so when they have the class notes in a binder, and they're not doing it for me, they're doing it for themselves. I'm just teaching them
So
how
you're helping them how to learn faster and more
Right.
productive.
Exactly. So my philosophy in teaching had two elements to it. Number one, I learned from a fellow who taught with me. Her name is Betty Edwards. She wrote the book called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. And she talks about, in order to connect with your right side of the brain, you have to be joyful.
Okay.
So
So that's a side of the brain that
right side of the brain.
the right side of the brain.
So left is analytical, right is creative. And
Oh, the
has
creative side. I
intuition.
see. Okay.
Okay? So I said to my students, look, I'm teaching you design, which is a creative activity. So you have to connect with your right brain and be joyful.
And why do you think that when you're joyful, you can be more creative, more productive? Why is that?
It's the nature of you.
It's the nature.
It's a human nature.
Okay.
You know,
Also, when you're in a better state, you tend to be more creative.
absolutely. In fact, it's so funny that when people connect with the right side of the brain, they become more productive and more creative. And they also are able to achieve success on what they're doing. So, it's like professors don't know everything. They're also trying to learn as they teach.
Correct.
And, the funny part of learning is, when you stop learning, do you know when you stop learning?
When you stop learning, I don't think you ever stop learning.
No. You stop learning when you die.
Okay. That is a really good point. I mean,
Because
you stop doing everything when you die,
I had
plus
a-
learning.
I had a near-death experience.
I remember, yes, you
I
did
had an
talk to me
accident
about
20
it.
years ago on a motorcycle and I thought I died. So, but I woke up in the hospital and said, oh my God, I'm not dead.
That is,
So now going back to right side of the brain, joy, creativity, telling my students to be smiling. So if you had a choice between smiling and not smiling or have an uptight face, which one would you prefer?
I tend to be more on the smiley side. Yeah, I try to approach life
Well,
with a smile.
there are many advantages of that. People like to see you smile. They like to associate with you when you're smiling.
It's more welcoming. So
You're welcome. Okay. Now, so anyway, that was the bottom line of.
So my question is to connect that to inner voice.
Yeah.
How can we differentiate the wisdom so we can become more joyful,
Yeah.
therefore
So
more
when-
productive?
The difference between noise and wisdom is the same thinking process.
The same thinking process.
When you try to look at it with a smile, it becomes wisdom.
Okay. That's very good.
When you are experiencing with frustration,
Definitely no joy.
there is no joy, and that becomes noise.
That is a noise.
And you know,
So wisdom is more joyful.
absolutely.
It's calm, and noise is stressful, worry, kind of overwhelming.
Yeah. So we are talking about a book which deals with anxiety, depression, and stress,
They're all connected.
which leads to something else, and that is obesity. Did you know that?
Of
Yeah.
course, it is a factor.
You know, the number one problem in the world is obesity. Number one.
Of course, because food is
If you Google and ask what is the most searched thing in the world, it is obesity. People
yeah.
are
Because
trying to lose weight.
I think that eating is a coping mechanism, and it's
Absolutely.
so available
Yeah.
that it's really hard
And
to
it-
control it,
so, you
and
know,
to balance it.
This is a kind of a 5-step process. Now, let me tell you a little story so you can connect with this.
Yeah.
There is an app you may have heard of called Facebook and Instagram.
Yes. All these platforms.
Oh, you have. So do you know Mr. Zuckerberg that I call Fuckerberg?
I remember you mentioned that before. Fuckerberg.
He was apologizing in front of Congress, U.S. Congress, to the parents whose kids kill themselves. So how does that happen? How does a child or a young person kill him or herself? Do you know? I'll explain.
Definitely, it could be a lot of reasons, but depression.
No, but it starts with something else.
Okay.
There's something called self-esteem.
Or self-esteem.
You know what that is? Okay. So everyone, to some extent, suffers from low self-esteem.
Yeah, and especially teenagers, because they don't really know who they are. They haven't built a personality
Exactly.
and character.
They're
That they're
still
very vulnerable.
forming themselves.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they are comparing themselves to others, their peers, and they say, "Oh my God, she's better looking. He's taller.
And
he's
especially
smarter."
with Instagram and all these platforms
Yeah.
now. And I think that if it can affect me, that I'm a 30-something-year-old, I can only imagine how it can affect people in like
Unbelievable.
teenagers. And
Teenagers are the biggest
I personally feel sorry for them,
sufferers
because
of
we didn't
this.
have to deal with that.
no.
We
You
didn't
didn't have
Yeah,
Instagram
we were playing
then.
outside. We were creating
So this
social
is
skills.
now you mentioned something I have to stop you there.
Yes.
You said you used to play. Okay, you used to go out and
Yes.
play with friends. The kids today
They
don't
do
go out
that.
and
They
play.
just scroll, iPad,
This is,
Instagram.
and I'm an educator, okay? So I have the responsibility of knowing what's going to hurt young people. You know what's happening today? We're going to see in 20 years what a disaster it's going to create. A disaster. This is what's going on right now is going to be an intellectual disaster. The kids, now you and I'm even older than you, even you. Let me ask you something. Were you able to calculate math in your head? No.
I mean, I have taken
No,
math,
that's okay, but-
and because I'm from Greece, our level actually in high school it was really, really high. When I moved to London and I
But
went
can
to
you
college,
calculate stuff in your head? No.
to a point, I
No, no.
hope.
Can you? No. So this
To a
is
point,
this is the problem. I'm telling you. So when I
But
started,
I can definitely tell you that, like using autocorrect every day
Right. So
has destroyed my skills of like.
when I
writing.
started teaching, okay, late 70s, 78 to be exact, okay? And when I graduated from university with an architectural degree, we didn't have calculators.
That's interesting.
We had slide rules.
That is, wow.
I don't think you know what it is. Slide rules were used like calculators for creating and calculating.
I don't think I know how to use that because I've never seen one.
Yeah. So
But it definitely helps you use your brain more
absolutely.
and exercise.
So I grew up
your mathematical
using my
skills.
brain.
We
Okay.
don't do that anymore.
And people don't do that anymore.
For
So
sure, for sure.
when I started teaching, I realized that my comprehension, and I really was good in math and science, I mean, I was like the topper,
I see.
like very good at it. Math, physics, and chemistry, I was just topper. And I realized the kids that I'm teaching, they don't understand math, they don't understand science. The level of education is so
It's
much
gone
lower.
down, for sure. Yeah.
But, so now we were on the topic of connecting with your right brain and trying to figure out how to deal with low self-esteem. Number one, we have to learn to have affirmations. Everybody. That there's nothing wrong with me. I don't have to compare myself to you or him because there's nothing wrong
But
with me.
is that something that is the inner voice something we do? Is something that
If
gets
you-
affected mentally, or is it something biological? Because
No,
in your
no,
chapter,
it starts
I did
with
read,
mental.
I
See?
did read.
Okay, biologically, now once we get into the biochemistry, okay, let's say if I have a biochemical imbalance, okay, my body doesn't produce serotonin because my
Or GABA.
gut is messed up, okay, I can't do anything about it. It is what it is.
I mean, with serotonin, maybe training. There are some ways to.
But I can overcome that by learning how to cope with it. See, coping skill
it
is
is.
something within our hands. Okay, so the number one, in fact, in my book, there is a chapter on low self-esteem. So I teach people how to cure low self-esteem because that is the most damaging thing in your life. Number one. Okay? Number two, low self-esteem, and when you're not smiling, so just remember, smiling is very important. The minute you smile, you're connecting with your right side of the brain. Half of your problem is gone. That noise becomes more of a discussion.
I see.
See?
I see.
So, low self-esteem leads you to anxiety, leads you
Depression.
to depression, leads you to stress, leads you to overeat. 5 steps: low self-esteem, anxiety, depression,
Depression.
stress, overeating.
And I would say that it sometimes it's not overeating. It could be drinking. It can be any
Whatever, these
other
are all
addiction
obsessive. See, we
behaviors. Yeah.
think we are trying to overcome those issues by doing something, smoking pot, taking
Yeah.
drugs,
It is
drinking.
that coping mechanism.
You know, JoyScore, and it may sound like a plug for JoyScore, but JoyScore is the single most important thing people need to learn in their life. If you can keep your JoyScore up, everything follows. Even your credit score. In fact,
Your
7
credit
years.
score?
Yeah. Now I cannot.
No, I understand, because if you're joyful, then you're more productive, more successful, then
Everything
your
is
credit score is going to go up.
Absolutely.
It makes sense.
You know.
And I think that it also will help with personal relationships. Because if
Absolutely.
you're
In
happy
fact,
in your relationship,
So
if you're happy with yourself, then you're going to be happy in a relationship. So.
so in '98, I went to Harvard Business School because I had a lot of companies and making a lot of money. And a friend of mine said, "Listen, have you ever taken any business courses?" I said, "No." He said, "Look, you got all these companies and you have hundreds of people working for you. You got to go to this program called OPM at Harvard Business School." And I did. And I learned a lot there, but I already knew a lot before I went there. But the point of it was that once you learn how to do something well, your mind calms down. You develop confidence. Well, I forgot to finish the story about Mr. Zuckerberg apologizing to the parents of the kids who lost their life in front of Congress. I mean, you're talking a lot of parents. And his employees, Zuckerberg's employees, have gone to him as a sir. Our algorithm is hurting young people. You know what his algorithm does? It hooks you to the screen because he needs screen time. This is how he makes money. The son of a bitch is greedy. Richest man in the world still doesn't care about anybody. Only cares about himself and wanting to make more money. That's it.
So back to our inner voice. So
Don't let me talk.
so we did talk about what happens when we don't hear the inner voice. So
Right.
more depressed, we struggle with anxiety, depression, doubt in ourselves, and it can also affect our body, become obese. And another good point is like that we stop being present. We're always thinking about what is going to happen, the unknown. We stop being present. How does that affect our state, our being? Being present, because you talked about purpose.
Let me say something which sums up everything. Okay. Depending on how we handle ourselves, okay, at any given moment, all those things we were talking about, low self-esteem, anxiety, depression, stress, obesity, overeating, overdrinking, smoking, pot, whatever. This is all what we do to ourselves and manage ourselves. See, we have the responsibility of managing our stress, anxiety, and depression. We can manage it. Or we can give ourselves into it and go on a downward spiral till we kill ourselves. And I have a rabbit, and his name is Rocky.
Okay.
So, I shouldn't say that, but I call him dumb as Rocky. Because I think He's dumb because I've given him half of my family room. It's a huge area, okay? And there is a fence. All day long he's trying to get out of the fence.
Right.
That's all he does.
Right.
I said, Rocky, you're so dumb.
I mean, he wants to be free, I guess.
Okay.
The way we want to be free from that inner noise, right? So yeah, I think the breathing technique can help us a lot, not just with the inner voice, worry, stress, anxiety, but sometimes it's really hard when you get a panic attack to focus, to stay still. You know, that's my struggle with breathing. What other tools we can have
So,
apart from breathing,
grounding,
grounding?
exercise,
Exercises,
walking,
that's a big one. Yeah.
drinking water,
Yeah.
anything which makes you feel good, except
The
drinking
bad stuff,
alcohol, drugs, pot. Those
Apart from the
all,
things that are gonna make you feel good in the
they're
moment.
going to take you
Correct.
down.
Yeah.
This is the so there was a do you know that people have all kinds of addictions?
Yeah. I've heard really crazy addictions.
Any type of addiction you can think of, people have it. They feel good when they do those things. But anything beyond normal behavior is addiction.
Yeah.
And it's not good.
Everything that you do to extreme degree. It's like even watching TV. You know, if you watch TV all day, that is addiction. Like, what are you trying to stay away from? That you're coping.
A little bit of everything is okay. But
So have a
any
balance. That's like
balance.
very cool.
That's the key word. Balance. Do everything within balanced, normal behavior. Overdoing anything is not good.
Yeah, I've seen people that they used to be alcoholics, but now their addiction is the gym. I mean, at least it's not as harmful, but it's still obsessive. Well, thank you so much
Thank you.
for all your advice. I think I've learned a lot. I hope that you guys learn a lot as well, and looking forward to the next one.
Thank you for joining us. In closing, I am Professor Joy, and here is Maria. And we're going to be doing a lot more podcasts.
Yeah, I'm very
as we
excited.
go. And we're very happy to have done this one, and we'll be doing more and more of these. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.
See you at the next one.